I know it's hard to believe it is already December, which means most of us are focused, or at least thinking about getting ready for the holidays. But this is also the time to make some strategic financial moves that really could save you quite a bit of money. We have Bob Hockensmith. He's a financial advisor, and he has some year-end tax tips for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Katie.
I was going through some of these tips. They're pretty interesting. Your first tip, though, you say is to take advantage of the tax credit options out there.
Right. Arizona is the only state in the United States that actually offers both a tax credit and a tax deduction for charitable contributions, specifically 4 different kinds of charitable contributions. You can actually give a donation to any private school in Arizona. If you're a married couple, you can give up to $2,000 this year as a donation. If you're a single person, you can give $1,000 to this private school. You don't have to have children to do this. The state of Arizona will give you a tax credit, which means they give you that money back.
Wow.
And the federal government gives you a tax deduction on your Schedule A as itemized deductions. So effectively, you get a 2-for-1 out of it.
So it's like trying to find that private school that you'd like to make this contribution to. Okay, that's interesting. All right, I found this interesting as well. You say prepay for your license tags, real estate, medical expenses, tuition, and additional house payment to get the deductions? Talk to me about that.
A lot of people don't realize that you can make a 13th-month house payment. Now, most of the time, the first at least 10 years that you've got a mortgage, most of the payment you make goes right to interest.
Sure.
So if you make that additional house payment, guess what? You've just got additional interest as another tax deduction.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's great if you can do that. All right, talk about this, deferring your income until next year if possible. How would that work and why?
Some people have the opportunity to say, you know what, I've got this bonus coming. I really don't want it right now. I'll take it next year. And if you can defer your income, what happens is you then get an opportunity to plan when you're going to pay taxes on the income that you're going to receive.
All right, that makes sense. Capital gains, you say take them this year rather than next.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Next year, the capital gains rate is going to be at least 20%. It could be as high as 39.5%. We're not really sure where it's going to go until Congress finally comes to a conclusion on the fiscal cliff. But right now, we know for a fact that it's no more than 15%. So you could pay as little as 0 if you're in the low tax bracket and you get capital gains, or as high as 15%. So taking it now versus next year when we don't know what's going to happen is a more certainty.
Do you find it odd that a lot of people don't know what their tax bracket is?
Oh, yeah, that's very common.
I'm sitting here looking, I have no idea. I'm sitting here visiting with you about it. I'm like, well, made me wonder if a lot of other people don't know either.
That's very common that people have no clue what their tax bracket is. And further, it gets more confusing because you have what's known as an effective tax bracket and a marginal tax bracket, which really confuses you.
Okay, but you say it's important because it really plays a role in the different strategies you should take when it comes to filing. Yeah,
if you're gonna lower income bracket, then your strategies are going to be far different than if you're in a higher income bracket. And by higher, I mean people who make over $100,000 a year. So anybody who makes less than $100,000 a year, they're going to have a different strategy than those making over $100,000 a year. And you need to know what that bracket is so that you can have an idea on how to strategize.
Well, and it's all going to play a huge role in where we may or may not end up with this whole fiscal cliff talk.
Oh, yeah. I personally think we're going to actually fall off the fiscal cliff. I do. And then what'll happen is after the first 2 or 3 months that we've been off the fiscal cliff, Congress will come back and do some compromise.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll see. We're all, with bated breath waiting, right? All right. Bob Hockensmith, thanks for your insight.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.